All right, I believe we're live.
We are live. Good evening, everybody. This is Backstage with Chris. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. My name is Chris, better known as Chris Cooking Nashville here on the YouTubes. And I'm a proper human diet chef. We are doing a live cooking show for you tonight with a couple of recipes of mine. We have a really good time doing this. I have just completely reversed all kinds of crazy health issues, lost about 130 pounds, and done absolutely amazing things with both keto and then carnivore diets. And my wife, who is running the comments section over there, the lovely country artist Ash Taylor. Go to ashtaylor.com, you can see all of her music stuff. She is over there helping me run the comments tonight, and she has also reversed a number of health issues and lost an amazing amount of weight doing a meat-heavy keto diet. So we're just here to share excellent food and good times. We have a very supportive community, so if you guys are here, please comment in the live chat or let us know in the comments if you're watching this replay that you are here, especially if you're brand new. We would love to say hello to you. Let us know where you guys are watching from and what you are excited for today with your proper human diet journey. So, honey, how you doing over there today?
I'm doing great. Looks like we got some folks here in the chat.
Excellent.
Do you want to say hey to some folks real quick? Awesome. Carrie is here.
Hello, Carrie.
He says, rowing the boat to the live stream.
Yes.
Says, wish I could afford the motor. I had to make a decision today to keep the car going, and my credit is not going to look good. I didn't do much for jobs today. Been there, done that, my friends.
Been there, done that all too many times, my friend. Well, prayers that everything will work out for you soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Hooligan Fish says...
Love that name.
Fun, right?
Yes.
Chicken and biscuit casserole sounds bomb.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be good.
Yeah. But, by the way, do you want to kind of explain exactly what you're doing here?
Yeah. So, if you guys are brand new to what I do, these are some leftovers. They smell good, of my carnivore biscuit recipe, which you can find on my channel. And I believe I linked it in the description down below, but if I didn't, you can go to YouTube and type in Chris Cooking Nashville Biscuits, and you will find this recipe. These are some leftovers. We had some friends over for dinner over the weekend, and we just had some leftover biscuits. So I was like, well, what can I do with a batch of leftover carnivore biscuits? And I came up with the idea to do this chicken and biscuit casserole, and there's a couple of different ways you can kind of do this. So I'm going to show you guys the way I'm doing this, and then I'll give you a couple of ideas of ways you could do it at home as well. You can make this carnivore. I'm leaning in a more ketovore direction with some peppers and onions in it, but you can leave those out and keep this completely carnivore. So this is flexible for wherever you are on the proper human diet spectrum. And we're going to make something really, really tasty. So while we're saying hello to people, I'm actually going to do this the way I'm doing this today is I'm going to cut these up and sort of tear them up into small pieces. You could leave them whole. You could cut them up into big chunks. There's lots of ways to do this, but I'm going to go ahead and chop these up in the food processor to make them a little bit more torn up and smaller so we can use them as the topping on our casserole while we're saying hello to some folks.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Yeah.
I am personally a big fan of casseroles. Maybe it's just because I grew up poor, but I do. I love a good casserole, and I feel like we haven't had one in a while. So
yeah, it's been a while since I've done any kind of a casserole for us.
Yeah. Mr. Marty Crum is here, by the way.
Hello, Marty, my friend.
Marty says, after having made the biscuits, I can hardly wait to see this.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one, man. I appreciated your comment, by the way, talking about how much you love the biscuits. So thank you for making them, and glad to know you enjoy them so much.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of enjoying biscuits, it looks like your golden retriever friend over there
Of course she is.
Just ready for you to drop a biscuit.
Oh, yeah. I'm telling you what, guys, the moment I start cutting up any of these protein-based bread knockoffs that I do for keto and carnivore recipes, anytime I have this stuff on the cutting board, this dog comes from wherever she is in the house, because you guys have to remember, these things may taste amazing and they may kind of have that bread thing that we're going after, depending on which recipe it is, but these things are like solid fat and protein mostly, and some dairy carbs, very few. And dogs love protein. They love protein. So every time I have this kind of stuff, here she comes, hoping that she's going to get a snack.
Oh yeah, hardcore.
No snacks for you tonight. We got to use this for the recipe. Don't embarrass me in front of the people.
That's right. Stop acting like we don't feed you.
That's right. Don't anybody feel bad. Miss Melody over here had homemade dog food. We make her food from scratch. We also have a video on the channel of how we do that. So don't anybody feel bad for this dog. She had homemade food for dinner literally about 30 minutes ago.
That's right. I actually posted a picture today in the band in our private community, which is also linked down below in the description box.
Yeah.
Of me in the kitchen making Miss Mel's puppy food.
There you go.
Her staring at the pot, acting like she was starving to death. But
Yeah.
dogs, they're the best. Richard Williams is here.
Hi, neighbor in Copper Hill.
That's right. Purple Love and Donna is in the house.
Hello, Debbie. We're glad you're here.
The beautiful Miss Lynn is here.
Hello, Lynn.
22Q Cat says, hello, Chris, Ash, and everyone. Looks like some delicious comfort food is about to happen.
Yep, I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Mr. Jeffrey Cox is here.
Hello, Jeff, one of our rock star members of our private community and just an amazing human being. We appreciate Jeff so much.
Yes, one of the best. Jeff says, I should be doing my online training right now for work, but this is way better. Probably will regret my decisions when I'm up till midnight to get it all done.
I understand, man, but I'm really glad you're here, so thank you for tuning in, even if you do have other stuff that you maybe should or shouldn't be doing, but I'm glad to be the influence of procrastination for you.
I was going to say, are we a bad influence?
I've always been a bad influence. I'm all right with it.
Probably so.
So I just put these, by the way, I cut these up into cubes. I just threw these into the food processor, and I'm just going to pulse them up, not until they're like crumbs, but until they're smaller pieces.
Okay, cool. Jackie is here, by the way.
Hello, Jackie.
She says, hey, y'all, looking forward to today's recipe. And Risa's Cluttered Kitchen is in the house.
Hello, Risa. Good to see you, my friend.
So many beautiful
people.
people.
You guys can see, I'll bring this over so you can kind of see what it is I'm doing here. But I want these in smaller pieces because it's going to help absorb some of the moisture from this casserole we're about to do. So you can see it's kind of crumb-ish pieces, but not all the way down into powder, so it's little pieces. Now you could use bigger chunks, especially if you made these fresh and they didn't have any time to dry out at all for a couple of days like these have. You could totally use these fresh and you could just make them and put them either in big chunks, or heck, you could just cut them in half and just lay the halves cut side down over top of this casserole and do something very similar. It depends on what kind of a texture and flavor you're looking for.
That's awesome. Very cool. I like using these, especially for like leftover biscuits.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. If you have leftovers of stuff like this, it's like, what in the world do you do with leftover carnivore biscuits? Well, here's your answer.
You make the casserole.
Yeah, you make a casserole.
Yeah. Mary Kay Wesling is here, by the
way.
way.
Hello, Mary Kay.
And I love this comment so much. Crazy Mountain Fiberworks and Homestead is here.
Okay.
Says, hello, I am new to your channel, but been ketovore for 2.5 hours.
Awesome. Brand new.
That's awesome.
Love
awesome.
it.
Well,
Congrats.
welcome.
Welcome, and we're so glad you are here. Thank you for being awesome, and good job for jumping on the Ketovore train, and thank you for saying hello and just having the courage to come say, hey, I'm brand new here, because I think sometimes people get real scared about that, and I don't want you guys to be. I want you to feel welcome here, and I want you to feel like we are here to support you, because that's what we're here for. I'm going to set these aside. I have 2 containers here because I'm going to be making a large one, but I'm also going to make a smaller one because you guys can meal prep this. And I'm going to take a smaller one, and I'm probably going to stick it in the freezer and have this ready to go, because we're going to be going out of town this weekend, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But then when we get back, we might be super busy, so we'll have a little quick throw it in the oven dinner ready to go. My oven is preheated to 375 degrees, by the way. And this mixture that I have right here is a combination of a number of different things. Now, in this is where the peppers and onions are. You would not have to add them. I just did because I'm going a little more ketovore tonight for this, because it sounded good. Wanted to show you guys the options, but leave out the veggies, and it's carnivore. So all this is, if you need to get out something to write with or your phone to type a note on or whatever, all this mixture is about 3 pounds of chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, just the cheap chicken thighs, right? This is budget friendly. So cheap chicken thighs, boneless, skinless from the store. I just trimmed off any of the bits that you don't want, you know, the extra fatty bits or any pieces of bone or anything I might have found on there. Trimmed them up, and I put them into some, I used chicken broth, but you could use water if you wanted to, boil for 15 minutes. You drop them into gently boiling water and you poach them in the boiling water for 15 minutes. You take them out and let them cool and you shred them up. The sauce that they're mixed into is 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1 cup of heavy cream, and 12 ounces of shredded Swiss cheese. And I added in, so I put the cream cheese and the cream in there. I got that all hot and bubbly. And then I added in a teaspoon, a scant teaspoon of sodium citrate to do the cheese sauce like I did a couple weeks ago on the live stream. So I did that and then added in that Swiss cheese. I stirred that all together. Now you can season this however you want. I put in some fresh rosemary and some fresh sage because I had some left over from our friends that were over for dinner. You could use poultry seasoning. You don't have to season it with anything, just salt to taste. But I put those herbs in and then I put in black pepper. And then I sauteed a green pepper, an onion, and I had some diced up roasted red peppers as well. And I sauteed all of that with butter until it was soft. And a couple of cloves of garlic as well. I chopped up and threw in there and I sauteed that. So I just sauteed that till it was soft and threw it in, mixed it in with the cream. So cream and cream cheese, mix that all together, add in the cheese with the sodium citrate, mix that all together, added in the peppers, I added in the chicken, and then season it to however you want. That's it. And I have 1 large egg. I'm gonna mix that egg into this. This is room temperature-ish. I'm gonna mix the egg in here. It's not gonna be enough that you're gonna taste that there's egg in there. Just helps it set a little bit because we don't use things like flour and cornstarch and all that kind of stuff doing the whole low-carb, keto, carnivore thing. So I'm gonna use an egg and I'm gonna mix it through here really well. And then I'm gonna divide it amongst these 2 containers. So you guys let me know if you have questions, but I'm gonna go ahead and put that together and we'll keep saying hey to folks.
Awesome, sounds good. Let's see, so we got Mr. Brian Flyfishman Dish here.
Hello, Brian, my friend, how are you?
He says, good evening, Ash, Chris, and Mel. Happy Fool's Day.
Yes, yes, and this is no fool here. We are making this recipe for real, and yes, it is truly keto, and yes, it can be made truly carnivore, and it is fantastic, and those biscuits are not carnivore, are not carb-heavy biscuits. Those are, in fact, carnivore biscuits. That is not a lie. That is not an April Fool.
I know we're usually jokesters, but not today, guys. We're pretty serious.
Yep.
Pretty serious.
Jokesters, we talking about? I'm always serious.
I know. You're so serious, babe.
All the time.
The serious of them all. The beautiful Miss Janelle is here.
Hello, Janelle, one of our rock star moderators and a member of our private group.
Yeah. News and Info Joe says, love the intro.
Hey, Joe, thank you so much, my friend.
Jeff says, man, that intro just getting fancier and fancier.
I'm trying to step up the game for you guys. You know, we want this to be not only useful for the recipe, but I want it to be entertaining. I want you guys to show up and feel like it's fun. You know, Ash and I are professional touring musicians. That's what we ended up in Nashville for in the first place. And we like to entertain people, whether that's with cooking and doing the Chris Cook in Nashville stuff, or whether we're touring for her stuff and playing music, or whatever we're doing. We're just trying to entertain people and take care of people, make people happy, make them healthy, and make them feel good. Mm-hmm. So.
Absolutely. Karen, Low Carb Spin is here.
Hi, Karen.
She says, hi, Chris and Ash, making your crackers at this very moment.
Awesome. Yes, if you guys didn't know, I have a carnivore cracker recipe. You can make it taste like Ritz, or you can make it taste like saltines. Either way, it is a lovely recipe. You should go check out that video after this live stream.
It is. It's super good. Janelle says, everybody, please hit the like and subscribe button.
Yes, please, please, please. That helps us out so, so much.
Mm-hmm. Holly Springer is here.
Hello, Holly.
We also got Marilyn watching from Arkansas.
Well, hi, Marilyn. How are you?
Yeah. Marilda is here.
Hello, Marilda, my sweet friend.
Very sweet friend. Janelle says, love this. Thank you, Janelle. She says, please look below in the description box and find the link to vote for Chris to be your favorite chef.
Yes. If you guys did not know, I entered the favorite chef competition. It's in partnership with Carla Hall, which is, you know, she's a celebrity chef, and a bunch of other like Food Network type chefs and everything. And you guys can vote once every 24 hours for free. I'm not asking anybody to go pay for votes for me. I appreciate it, but you don't need to do that. And you can, but I'm not going to ask for that at all. But go and vote for free at the link in the description box. Once every 24 hours, set a reminder, and let's see if we can't take keto and carnivore foods, proper human diet cooking, to a completely new level of mainstream. There's a monetary prize. I don't really care so much about that, although it would be nice. But more importantly, you get a feature in Taste of Home magazine, and you get to cook with Carla Hall. That would be taking keto and carnivore foods and this cooking of proper human diet dishes to a completely new level when it comes to mainstream media. This is our chance to show the world that we are not just a niche, fad, diet, cult, weird group of people, but that this is actually a legitimate thing, that we can do amazing food without sacrificing our health. And this is an opportunity for us to tell so many people around the world about this. So please go vote, set a reminder every day. Go do that free vote for me if you don't mind, because they do this in rounds. Currently, we are in first place in our group. They have different groups and then they condense it down round by round. I think there's 2, 3, 4 rounds. I don't know exactly how many, but there's gonna be several rounds. So keep us in first place, get us through this first round, and then we'll tell you about more voting to come when we get into the next round, hopefully. So that link is down there. It is free once a day. Just set a reminder. And if you don't mind, we would appreciate your vote very, very much so we can go try to help a lot of people around the world.
I agree. Yogi is here.
Hi, Yogi.
She says, hi, all you lovely proper human diet peeps.
Yes, it's so good to see you, my friend.
We got Mr. Bruce in the house.
Hi, Bruce.
Michelle Holland is here.
Hi, Michelle.
She says, hey from Houston, excited about this recipe.
Excellent. Well, I'm excited about this recipe too. I'm going to start throwing this mixture into these 2 casserole dishes while we're saying hey to you guys, so
Sounds
we can
good.
get this in the oven, because I am very excited about this recipe.
I am. I'm also hungry.
Yep.
And it's looking and smelling really good.
It smells very good in the house right now.
It's very like just comfort food.
This has very chicken pot pie vibes.
Yes.
So it's not flavored like chicken pot pie, and I'm still working on the ability to do pastry crust in a carnivore way so that I can do keto and carnivore chicken pot pie. I'm working on it and trying. But in the meantime, this has very chicken pot pie vibes, and this is really cool.
Yeah. Hey, Risa actually has a question about your biscuits.
Okay.
Says, I made the biscuits last week and they were a fail. Not sure what happened. The dough was very wet and they baked for too long. Is the dough supposed to be wet, or did I screw something up?
So the dough can be sticky. You don't want it to be straight up like wet. Like, it should be pasty and sticky. But if it was too runny, if it's way too wet, then a couple of things might have happened. Number one, it could be the mixture was too hot when you added the frozen grated butter, and so then that turned immediately into a liquid. The other thing is you may not have let it sit long enough to come down in temperature after adding the whey protein and the gelatin, because that absorbs moisture and it solidifies and makes it easier to work with. So if you still are really getting like a runny mixture and you can't get it to hold shape at all, it just seems like it wants to just puddle out, then you probably need more whey protein or more butter powder or more gelatin or something. One of your ingredients might be off somehow. It is a sticky mixture, so it's not gonna hold in your hands like a biscuit dough, but it should be able to hold together at least well enough to do the things you need it to do. And those would be the reasons, if it's not doing that, those would be the reasons why.
Cool. Awesome. My big brother, Mr. Brandon Box, is in the house.
Hello, big brother. How are you?
He says, excited to watch CCN here in Orange County, California.
Love it. We're going to be seeing him soon.
We are in just a few days. Says, let's see some chicken and biscuits be made carnivore style.
That's correct.
Awesome. Marie Skidmore is in the house.
Hi, Marie.
She says, hi, Chris and Ash from Avondale, Arizona.
Good to see you.
Yes. She says, I grew up with biscuits and gravy. So glad we can have them again.
Absolutely. Well, me too. I mean, shoot, biscuits and gravy is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
I remember somebody asked me one time, they said, biscuits and gravy, can you have that for any meal other than breakfast? And I'm like, son, I was about 17 years old before I realized you could have anything else.
That's right. Terry is here.
Hello, Terry.
My terrific life. Says, OMG, that looks so good. Just the biscuits. Hi, everyone. Ash casseroles rock. Yes,
awesome.
Terry. And you rock too, my friend. We're so glad you're here.
So glad you're here, Terry. If you guys don't know, Terry is amazing, and you should totally go check out her channel, My Terrific Life, because she is a sweet human being and was part of our carnivore corn tortilla video. She was our guest taste tester. And
she was,
we had a blast having her here. So, okay, so my 2 casserole dishes are filled maybe about halfway or so. And I'm just going to sprinkle biscuits over the top.
This is pretty easy.
This is very straightforward. And you can use, I mean, here's the deal. I'm doing this with chicken. You could do this with ground beef. You could do this with shredded pork. You could change the seasoning and make it more Mexican. You could make it more American. You could, I mean, you can modify this and do all different kinds of casserole type stuff with this.
Yeah, it sounds so good. I love it that it's so simple and easy, and the fact you can meal prep it. It's awesome. Jeff Cox says, spot me some mail.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I am so sorry. I'm probably going to pronounce this username totally wrong. Please know I'm just sorry in advance. I believe it's Hick Neo. Says, thank you for every new recipe you come up with. There is really no excuse anymore not to go carnivore. Huge respect.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Listen, some people do great with keto. Some people just do much better having the lower oxalate diet and the higher protein and fat of carnivore. And for people who do better on carnivore, there are people that just struggle with the psychological side of giving up all of their favorite recipes. And even if that's not where they're going to end up permanently, that may very well be where they start out temporarily. And so I was one of those people. And you know, having options like this, I feel like just makes it so much easier for us to do things that are good for our health. And it's not always about weight loss. I mean, weight loss is great, but sometimes there's other things that people need to deal with that go far beyond weight loss. And there might be reasons that a carnivore diet is super helpful that these kinds of recipes make so much more stability happen for someone that needs those benefits. So I appreciate you very much for saying that and for being here. I'm just trying to help as many people as I can and provide options for those who find them helpful. I'm just kind of pressing the biscuit crumbs, as it were, down into the top. Just like this.
So does that, I got a question.
Yeah.
So when you do that, because I see you do that a lot, does that actually do something, or is it just going to make it look pretty?
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing gently just to try to get some of the extra air pockets out of the biscuit crumb mixture, because I don't want there to be a pocket where there's like a big bunch of air underneath of it. And then when that bakes, those pieces of biscuit all around it start to burn or they start to dry out too much. So by pressing it down slightly, you get better contact between your crumbs on top and the liquid mixture underneath, and so they'll actually bind together and set together better as they bake.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great little tip, because I totally would have just sprinkled them on top and I would have thrown it in the oven.
Yep, and
that's
there are
why,
some dishes that's what you want.
Right.
But not this one.
Okay, good to know, good to know. That's why you have the cooking channel and I run the comments. Good deal. Kitchen Witch 1885 is here.
Hi, Kitchen Witch, how are you?
She says, I'm the oldest of 5 children, so casseroles bring back good memories.
Yep, I understand.
Same here. The beautiful Miss Emily is in the house.
Hello, Emily.
She says, like, vote, share, and feed Mel.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So what I'm going to do, just thinking on the fly, if I'm going to, I have just a little bit of shredded cheese left over from when we did quesadillas.
Oh.
And I'm going to put just a tiny sprinkling of cheese over the top. It's not really a lot. You're not going to really taste much of the cheese, but I'm going to put a little bit over because I want it to kind of melt and brown just a little bit, and just the cheese proteins will kind of hold the biscuits together on top as well.
Well, I'm not mad
So
about that.
yeah, it's
That
like
sounds
literally
great.
like a quarter cup or so, probably just one small handful, basically over that. And I'm going to do it over here too.
Cool.
Because when we come back from our trip, I don't want this to end up being a disappointing casserole ready to go in the freezer. I want it to be really good.
Well, I'm excited. I think it'll be great. Terry, My Trophic Life says, Mel lives the good life she wants for nothing.
You got that right.
Yeah. Mr. Barry Weems is here.
Hello, Brother Barry. How are you, my friend?
He says, good evening, everyone. I hope y'all are blessed. We sure
We
are.
are, and we hope you are as well, my brother.
Yeah. Smooth Will is in the house.
Hello, Smooth Will.
He says, what's up, family? Peace and love.
Yes, good to see you, my friend.
Yes, peace and love to you. Tammy says, I miss casseroles. I'm so excited to see a carnivore one.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, if you guys are doing the carnivore thing, just leave out those peppers and onions that I put in there. They're for flavor, a little bit of texture, but totally not necessary for the recipe to work, so you can totally leave them out. Now, this one, which is the meal prep version, I'm going to wrap in plastic and I'm going to stick it in the freezer. This one is going to go uncovered in a 375-degree oven until it is bubbly and starting to be golden brown on top. So we're going to talk while that happens.
Ooh, nice.
And don't anybody be staring at my butt. I know there's a bunch of you weirdos out there.
Sorry, I was already doing it. I married you though, so that's natural.
Right.
That's natural.
That's right. Ash married me so she can stare at it.
There you go. Exciting. Beverly says, don't forget about voting. I've got 2 in and hit the thumbs up.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That's so sweet of you guys. Thank y'all for your votes and support.
We appreciate it because it is purely a fan voted thing. Like, it's not like you're going to do a competition and see who cooks the best food and then have judges pick one. It's not that kind of thing. It is purely a fan voted kind of a thing. So it is about the people around the world that think you are their favorite chef and deserving to win. And it's open to all home cooks of any kind and professional chefs for that matter. So it is purely are you a chef that enough people think that what you do is cool to vote for you. So we can't do it without you guys.
Mm-hmm. Very true. I'm just going to keep saying hey to some folks.
Absolutely, go for it.
While you're putting some wrap on that. Dolly Nelson wants to know, where can we find the biscuit recipe? Dolly, it should be linked in the description box of this video. I also see where one of our awesome Rockstar moderators has put the link for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, and if you guys ever just get bored, or if you're sitting there at midnight and you're just like, man, I wonder if Chris has like a cracker recipe or a recipe for whatever, just go to YouTube, go to his channel and type in Chris Cooking Nashville crackers, Chris Cooking Nashville lasagna, because you have quite a number of recipes at this point.
I have a bunch of recipes at this point. Yeah. And you can always go to the search box on YouTube. You don't even have to go to my channel. Go to the search box on YouTube, type in Chris Cooking Nashville and whatever recipe it is you want to know if I have, because I'm probably the only Chris Cooking Nashville on YouTube. If I'm not, I'm definitely the most well-known. So my name will be the one to pop up, and you can always see if I have something that you're looking for.
Jackie says, this reminds me a bit of your Thanksgiving stuffing, which we greatly enjoyed last year.
Yeah, this has kind of some similar vibes. It's a cool thing. Now, you could also take, so this would be a fun idea. You could take the cheeseburger soup recipe that I did several weeks ago, and you could use less liquid, but blend up the eggs, and then you could put the raw egg into it like I just did to help bind it while it bakes. And you could actually make a cheeseburger casserole version of this, but it's super high protein because of all the eggs that you use to make that base that you would mix the ground beef into. Instead of making it a soup, you could make it a casserole by making it thicker.
Well, now you're just talking the language.
And then throw the biscuits on top.
Yeah. So this is awesome. So it looks like our new friend Crazy Mountain Fiberworks, actually they've been ketovore for 2.5 years.
Ah, okay.
Not hours. However, that's still just as cool.
Absolutely.
Maybe even cooler.
That's right.
That's a lot longer, so that's awesome. But some people are talking about their anniversary of being on the proper human diet, and I thought it would be cool to shout some of them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So John Wise, 3 years and a couple months ketovore for me.
Well, congrats, John.
Yeah.
Rock on.
This is sick. Purple 11 Nana says, coming up on 8 years of ketovore for me.
That's amazing, Debbie. Congrats and rock on to you.
Very cool. Emily says, I just made 2 gallons of chicken stock, so perfect timing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Andrea Williams is here.
Hello, Andrea.
She says, what is sodium citrate, and can you replace it with something more common, or is it common?
So sodium citrate is just a acidic salt. It's a form of salt, but it's a more acidic one. And what it does is when you put it in a liquid and then you add in cheese, it prevents the cheese proteins. It helps detangle the cheese proteins so that they don't clump up. And so it makes your cheese melt in smoother. It is very easy to find on Amazon. You just type in sodium citrate and just get the food grade kind, but it's literally just a form of salt. It's the same thing that happens if you mix vinegar and baking soda. The byproducts of that, you get water, you get CO2, and you get sodium citrate. That's the 3 things that happen when you mix baking soda and vinegar, or baking soda and any kind of an acid. So it's a really common thing. It's very easy to get online. It's a very common food thing that not just food companies use that. I mean, like chefs and restaurants, people all over the world use it. So it's really easy to find. You just have to get it online usually, or you can go to a specialty store. Sometimes you can find like specialty food stores or chefs, restaurant supply type stores. They might have it there, but it's very inexpensive and you don't use very much. It's really tough to figure out any way to do things without it. You can You can mix vinegar and baking soda and you can try to make your own and then add that into something, but then you're changing the liquid ratios. It doesn't work as well. It's a whole thing. You can mix the cheese into this without adding the sodium citrate, but it is very possible, depending on how much cheese you use in the base, that cheese will separate and then you'll get a grainy, weird texture. So my 2 cents, go to Amazon, just get a bag of food grade sodium citrate. It's really easy to find.
Cool. And Yogi actually wanted to know how much sodium citrate, Chris?
Yeah, so for this, I used 1 teaspoon for a cup of the cream and the 8 ounces of cream cheese. Generally, the rule is 2 teaspoons for every cup of liquid plus 8 ounces of cheese. But I had a lot less liquid by the time I cooked it all off, and I was using more cheese, and so I kind of played around with things. So I did 12 ounces of cheese instead of 8, and I did 1 teaspoon and 1 cup of liquid, but then that reduced a little bit by the time I cooked it all together. I also have the cream cheese in there that's helping to bind it, so I didn't feel like I needed as much of the sodium citrate. So it's not like a hard and fast rule, but generally 2 teaspoons for a cup of liquid and 8 ounces of cheese that can melt is what you're looking at. But for something like this, because of all the solid material that I also mixed into it, I went ahead and went with just the 1 teaspoon.
Cool.
Because I also didn't want to over salt it, because sodium citrate is a salt and I had seasonings in other things. If you're just using like chicken broth or cream or any other kind of liquid that doesn't really have very much salt in it, you can put in the 2 teaspoons of sodium citrate and it's not going to be a problem generally, at least I don't think it is. But if you have a really salty liquid, or if you're putting in all of this stuff like chicken and the veggies and stuff that I had seasoned, it could potentially get a little salty. So that's why I tried to cut back on it, the combination of all those things.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
22Q Cat Lynn says, it's my 8th year of keto/carnivore for me too. Purple Love and Anna, happy anniversary to us.
That's awesome. Congrats,
8 years.
Lynn. Lynn's awesome.
Lynn's great. Everyone's great. Love this. John has a question about your biscuits.
Yeah.
He says, I tried the carnivore biscuit recipe last week, but they turned out a little dry.
Yep.
Should I add more butter to the mix? I used frozen butter and grated like you showed. I live at 6,000 feet elevation.
Yeah. So I would try upping the amount of the grated butter. That's the first thing that I would do. The second thing that I would do, if you do that and you're like, yeah, but they're still a little dry, then the next thing I would do is start reducing the amount of the whey protein. It could be the particular brand of whey protein you have is absorbing more moisture for some reason. It could be maybe you just packed the cup a little more tightly, or maybe it was heaped, or maybe it was both and you ended up with a lot more than you intended. So play around with it, but the first thing I would do is increase the grated butter a little bit and then slowly start to decrease on the whey protein. But you don't want to go too much, because if it gets too wet, then they turn into a puddle like Risa was talking about. So it's kind of playing around with it and tweaking it. But those would be the 2 things that I would suggest. And also maybe don't bake them as long, because you have to remember too, this doesn't have any like raw egg mixed into it or raw flour, because we're not making those kinds of things. So this has whey protein, which is totally safe to eat just the way that it is. It wouldn't taste very good, but you could do it. This has a little bit of like the egg white powder, so that is also, it's already freeze dried, that it wouldn't taste very good, but you could just eat it plain. And then cream cheese, there's nothing you have to worry about cooking. So really it doesn't even need to be cooked, other than the fact that causes it to brown and causes all of the moisture to turn into steam, which is what helps set everything. So technically you could eat the batter raw. It would not taste very good, but you could totally do it. So it's not like you have to worry about undercooking it for food safety purposes.
Yeah, great question. Thank
Yeah.
you. Kathy Ray says, definitely a casserole lover here.
Yeah, same here.
Love this username, Jesus and Carnivore.
There we go. I like that.
Says, first time catching y'all on a live. I'm Becky from Missouri and part of the Healing Humanity group.
Oh, cool.
Been carnivore since August of 2023, meat only, but I make keto/carny meals for the family.
Excellent. Well, Becky, thank you so much for being here. And you are a perfect example of why I do this, because if you are meat only and you are comfortable with that, stable, you feel good, you're not missing anything, that's awesome. And I don't think in any way that you should then start making recipes because you somehow have to do so. But especially if you have a family who's not on board with the whole meat only thing, how do you encourage them to have a better health outcome from the diet they choose to eat if they're missing all sorts of things? Well, this is one way we can do it. There's multiple things we can do, but having recipes like this to convince people it's not crazy and you don't have to start with meat, salt, water only. Like, you can work towards that, whatever. It's tools that we can use to help our friends, our family, our loved ones, people around us. We can give an image to the rest of the world that this isn't nuts. We're just trying to do this as a way to take back our health. And here's options that make it easier to transition. So you're a perfect example of that. You were the poster child for the person who uses my recipes, even if they're not eating them regularly. So thank you so much for sharing. That's awesome. And congrats on being so stable with meat only and doing the Healing Humanities group thing. Like, that's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, definitely. And we're so glad you're here. Thank you for tuning in. Lots of people, by the way, babe, so many comments are talking about how they have voted for you. They're going to go vote for you. They're very excited for the favorite chef competition.
Thank you guys so much.
Kitchen Witch 1885 says, sent the link to my family chat and they are all voting for you for me because I am not on Facebook.
Thank you. Yeah, they when you try to do it, so they're doing this in partnership with something called it starts with a C. I can't remember. It's some app, thing that's out there or whatever. And it's kind of in partnership with this app that works closely with Facebook. So what they do is, unless you buy votes, if you want to do just the free vote, they use your Facebook account to prove you're a real human being. So you have to log into your Facebook account to prove that you're a real person, so that you don't have bots out there, computers basically voting for one chef thousands of times. So they're using Facebook as a way to kind of verify that. And in certain ways it works, but if you don't have a Facebook, it kind of makes it hard for you to go vote, obviously, unless you want to pay them money, which, again, I'm not asking anybody to do that. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate Kitchen Witch that you shared that and that your family is voting. I really appreciate the support, and I just appreciate all of you guys with your support, because, the channel wouldn't exist without all of you, and whatever chance we have of maybe winning this thing and taking keto and carnivore and proper human diet cooking to a mainstream media level is purely because of you guys. I can't do any of this without you all, and we love every single one of you, and thank you so much for your support.
Yes. Grace is here.
Hello, Grace.
She says, hi, Chris and Ash. I watch your videos regularly. I am from Scotland. I eat ketovore, including dairy.
Well, awesome. We're really glad you're here. Scotland is a place I would really love to visit.
Yeah.
So, Grace, you got a couch we can sleep on?
Yeah, exactly. We don't take up too much space.
That's right. I'll come cook for you.
I was going to say, we'll sleep on the floor. Just Chris will cook you yummy, tasty casseroles.
That's awesome. We're really glad you're here, Grace.
Yes, absolutely. Andrew wants to know, some of your recipes call for egg white powder. Can you take powdered eggs, or does it have to be just white's powder?
So it depends on the recipe. If you're trying to add egg white powder into egg whites and whip them into a whipped egg white fluff, you do not want to use whole eggs, because any minuscule drop of fat, sometimes even water, will prevent your egg whites from whipping. So you don't want to use whole eggs for that. Now, some of the other recipes, like say the biscuits, for example, where you're not whipping it, it's just in there for the egg proteins to bind everything, it is possible. The thing with that, though, is when you start adding in whole egg powder, you have the egg yolk. You're going to get more of an egg flavor, because the combination of the yolk and the whites causes a reaction between the sulfur and the iron, and it just does this whole thing with eggs, which is why when you get a boiled egg and you open the shell from a boiled egg, that's why you get that real intense smell of sulfur. And then you can get the gray ring around the white and the yolk where they meet. It's possible that the whole egg powder will work, but you're getting more fat, you're getting more egg flavor generally, because you can't get the sulfur out of there as easily. So it may work. It is worth an experiment, as long as it's not something you're trying to whip egg whites. Now, if you're trying to whip egg whites, egg white powder all the way, because it's the only way that it's going to work.
Cool. Awesome. Great question.
Yeah.
This comment makes me laugh. Nanny Banks says, I wish my kitchen was as clean as yours when I cook.
So you can thank my wife, because the only wife that I have ever met that works as hard to clean a kitchen as she does is her. I really do my very best to try to keep things clean, but between the two of us, she's the one that keeps me in line. So you guys, if you see this kitchen, you go, wow, it's amazing and clean. That's because my wife works her butt off to try to make this look nice, so that when you guys watch me cook in the kitchen, it's just enjoyable. It looks nice. It's clean. We have guitar students that come over, and we have business meetings and all sorts of things that happen here. So she goes very unrecognized for it a lot of times because you guys don't see what goes on behind the scenes, but I really try to express my appreciation for her because she is my business manager and she also cleans things to a level that I don't think I would ever be able to because I don't even notice that it's dirty and she's working on it. And she's just an amazing woman. So that's all because of her.
You're very sweet, Mr. Lau. Very sweet.
It's all true and you deserve all the credit.
Well, thank you, my love. You're very sweet. Lynn, 22QCat says, I love when Chris explains his reasons for doing things.
Well, thank you, Lynn. I try to make it easy for you guys.
How's that casserole looking in there?
It's smelling awfully good.
I know it is. It's smelling up the house. I can kind of start to smell it over here.
Yeah, you can start smelling those biscuits as they're sort of steaming with all of that stuff. So
yeah.
It's probably going to take about 30 minutes, I would guess.
Cool. I have to say, by the way, too, guys, usually after our Tuesday night live streams, we have a party with other creators where
it's usually us, and then it's Dustin from Keto Simple, and then it's Chris and Miriam Bear from Keto Chow right after him, and we have kind of like a 1, 2, 3 punch of live streams. They're all having fun at a meetup up in Indiana without us. So it's just us tonight. So if we go a little longer, I guess it's no big deal. We'll just hang out and answer questions until the casserole's done.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm kind of sad though. I feel like we're alone.
Yeah.
I feel like our Tuesday night ritual is thrown off.
Yeah, Chris and Dustin abandoned us.
I know, it's really sad. We'll call and give them a hard time.
Yeah.
However, I hope everyone's having a good time there.
Yes.
So I wish we could have gone. It would have been great.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Smooth Will says, yes, that's it. I struggle on carnivore to give up everything. I struggle too much. I'm trying, but I'm not going to make it because of that reason. I think keto may be best for me.
Yeah, and here's the deal. If you can't sustain something, right, it doesn't matter how good it is for you. If you can't stick to it, then it's not going to do you any good anyway. So you go wherever it is you find it's the most stable, it's the most realistic for you, and what makes you feel the best. And here's the deal. If you go keto and you're like, I'm just not getting the results that I want, then try carnivore again. And push it and kind of go back and forth and play around on that proper human diet spectrum. Experiment. N=1. Figure out what works for you. Figure out what makes you feel best, what helps you achieve your goals. Use my recipes as a way to, stabilize and have things that you feel like maybe you would miss otherwise, or, whatever it is you got to do, and just make the best decision you can for your own health. And let us know how we can support you. And if you want, our private community is linked down below. Come join and let us support you and be surrounded by a community filled with people who are going through the exact same thing of their journey, their own N=1 experiment, giving you their own tips and their tricks and what they're doing. And that's why we are all in there. We support each other and we talk about, here's what I'm doing, here's what's working, here's what's not, I'm struggling, I'm this, I'm that. We're just all there for each other. That's the whole point.
Yeah, it's a great group.
It really is amazing. Ask Jeffrey Cox if he's still here in the chat. How incredible the group is, because he's a member over there, and he and I have had some long conversations about how great he thinks it is and how he didn't even know that he needed a group like that, because he thought like, oh, I'm good, I don't need anything like that. He just joined to support, and then he was like, this is the most amazing thing to have this family.
I also have to, if I can, give a shout out really quick, because our chat is hopping tonight. But Emily is also in the private community of the band.
She is. She's also very active in there and very supportive.
Yes, and we also have people like Miss Janelle, who is not only in the band, but one of our awesome rockstar moderators.
Absolutely.
As I'm clearly behind in the chat and I'm reading, these two ladies are over here helping answer questions, and they are being welcoming and encouraging and whatever.
We have the best community.
We really do. And those are the type of people though that you will find in the band, or that will show up here on a live stream whenever they can, and are just
that is what our band is like. That is what our community is like. And truthfully, if you guys have watched the channel for any time, there's been some people pop in some live streams that have asked some rather inflammatory questions or made some inflammatory statements, and that's why we don't interact with those people and we don't deal with that, and we just block stuff like that because none of us needs it. We're all here to be positive and support each other. And people like Jeff and Emily and Janelle and just Shauna and all of these people are just, there's so many of them. I'm never going to remember all their names, but there's
a lot
so
of them,
many people over there that are so supportive. And guys, they keep me stable and Ash stable, and they keep us going just as much as they can do it for you, and just as much as we try to do it for each other and for them.
Yeah.
We're all working together. I'm not perfect and I need support just like everybody else. We're all humans, and that's how we do this. You do better with community because we all support each other.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of community, the beautiful Aunt Donna Wallflowers here.
Hello, Aunt Donna. Aunt Donna just joined too.
She did, and I was very excited. I literally, I think I screamed a little bit when I saw that. She says, a little late, but I'm here in time for the goodness and chat.
Well, we're very glad you're here, Aunt Donna. Thank you for jumping in.
Jesus and Carnivore said, just ordered chicken and beef flour. I'm curious to see how the biscuits turn out.
Very cool.
Yeah. Grace says, in the UK, what you call biscuits are what we call scones.
Yeah, scones are very similar to biscuits. So scones generally have egg, like liquid egg that's mixed into the mixture. So they are chemically a little bit different, but in terms of what they come out like, scones are very similar to American biscuits. That's probably the closest comparison you're going to get from Europe to America on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She says that most of the scones are sweet rather than savory,
Yep.
and will include things like dried fruit and all that. But,
Yep, they usually make them sweet.
Sounds yummy.
Yeah.
Well, very, very yummy. SB Close says, voted. This is so exciting. Love your chemistry. Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you for voting. We appreciate that. And like I said, guys, don't forget, set a reminder for every 24 hours to go back and vote again for free. Help you for free.
For free.
For free. Free 99. Help your brother out over here.
Yep. Kathy Ray says, Ash, you crack me up. Well, Kathy, I'm glad someone thinks I'm funny. Other than myself, I think I'm pretty good.
I think you're funny.
Thanks, babe. I just got dad jokes. 22Q Cat says, I'm usually looking around for Mel's butt, Chris.
Well, yeah, I totally understand. Speaking of, where is her butt?
She's down over here by me.
Oh yeah, she's laying over there on the floor between Ash and the coffee maker right now.
Yeah. I'm probably going to super mess up this username, but this is really cool. Simi Archinson's Damon says, hi, Chris and Ash from Germany. Awesome new recipe.
Hello, my friend. Thank you so much. Really glad you're here. And good to see you.
Yes. Andrew Williams says, Chris is going to be on a new booty channel, Only Cooks.
That's right. That's right.
That's awesome.
Trust me, ain't nobody want to see that.
Yeah. Yep. This is awesome. Cheryl is here, says, just joined in, so I will need to watch the replay. I will be trying this recipe for sure.
Awesome. Well, Cheryl, really glad you're here. And I did give the amounts of the way I made the sauce. It's easy to customize, but the way I made the sauce for the chicken to go in, I gave that amount a couple of times at the beginning. So if you have questions, you let us know, but that is there for you.
Jesus is coming soon wants to know, what's the best whey protein?
The best one is the one that you can afford and that you're happy with the ingredients. I have It's Just whey protein right now. It does have sunflower lecithin, but let me address the sunflower lecithin a little bit, because I've had some people that freaked out over sunflower lecithin. If you don't want it in your diet, I totally understand. That's fine. I don't worry about it because one, it's a very trace amount, and two, sunflower lecithin is not the high omega-6, the super high inflammatory seed oil. They don't extract that the same way. So it's not like a sunflower oil or like a soy oil or a canola oil or any of this. It's not that inflammatory stuff. It is a sort of a fatty, pasty texture that I don't forget exactly how it is they make it, but basically it's not the massive omega-6 power load that like all the seed oils are, and there's such a tiny amount of it that is in there, I don't even think about it. So for me personally, I don't worry about it. If that bothers you, then find one that doesn't have that, that's fine. For me personally, it just doesn't bother me because it's not the inflammatory issue that the seed oils that we're all worried about are. Because sunflower lecithin is not the same as sunflower oil. It's a completely different process and it has totally different ratios. So I have the It's Just brand, but if you go to Amazon and you just type in unflavored whey protein, you'll find all different kinds. Just read the labels and always read your labels before you guys buy something, because companies love to change their recipe or their formula and not tell you. Now, if it's egg white powder, I don't get it with the sunflower lecithin, not because I mind eating it so much as it doesn't whip up if you're using it for whipped egg white stuff. So if you have the egg white powder that has sunflower lecithin, you can use it in like my biscuits or other recipes where, excuse me, where you don't have to whip the egg whites. You can still use it in there as long as you're comfortable eating it. I just don't get egg white powder with sunflower lecithin, so that way I don't have to worry about whipping it. I can just whip it if I want to, or I don't have to. So, you know, the egg white powder, I care about it not for the diet portion, but just for the chemical portion of it in the kitchen and how it works. But
Awesome.
I'm not trying to whip whey protein because whey protein doesn't whip. So I don't really worry about it in there. So I have It's Just brand. That's the one that I've got currently. But
Cool.
honestly, I buy whatever is cheap and also doesn't have anything weird added on the back.
I like this. Janelle, I think, has a pretty good idea. She says, oh, I bet those leftover biscuits would make a great quiche crust.
Oh, I bet they would. Yeah.
I'm thinking they would,
I
yeah.
bet they would. We might have to play around with some ideas with that.
Yeah.
It's so hard to have things like that to do the experiments with because when I make the batch of biscuits, I just eat them. There's not usually leftovers. The only reason I have these is because I did a big blowout dinner. I was testing some things for like the cookbook coming up and some things we're going to be working on, and made this huge blowout dinner. There were 6 of us here, so I made like all these crazy like chef-y type recipes for fun and kind of flexed the chef chops a little bit. And so I made the biscuits, but by the time we ate everything else, everybody had like 1 biscuit and we were all full as all get out. So I still had a whole batch of biscuits, 6 biscuits left over, which is rare.
Because you made a feast for dinner that night.
Yeah, I did.
It was pretty wild.
It was amazing.
Barry Williams is celebrating 2.5 years being ketovore.
Well, congrats, Brother Barry.
So cool.
That's amazing.
And Auntie's here.
Hi, Auntie. How are you?
She is having a rough day.
Okay.
But she's doing better.
All right.
She got to see her very sweet nephew, newborn baby nephew. She also says that helped the soul, which is good.
Good. Well, I'm sorry you're having a rough day. I'm very glad that you're here with us regardless. And focus on all the good things and let us know how we can support you and how we can lift you up.
Auntie says, wonder how much of a super chat it would take to get Ash and Chris to bring me some biscuits for this weekend's festival. I feel like by the time we put them on the plane in the bag, that would probably, they'd be squished.
I know. Now, if I could find a kitchen while I was out there, I could just make them for you fresh, but yeah.
Yeah, that would be the way to do it.
Although I'm sure the TSA would probably be very happy with me carrying bags of white powder in through security.
In through security at the airport.
It's whey protein and egg white powder, I promise.
They're like, yeah, right, buddy. Yeah, right. Garland Varg is here.
Hello.
Says, hi, folks. Just got here. Better late than never. Yeah, we're just glad you're here, man.
We're just about ready to take something out of the oven, so you're here for the best part.
That's right. The part where we get to eat, that is the best part. I do agree. Terry, My Terrific Life says, I've been 2 years ketovore, now more carnivore. This way of eating has been delicious, and Chris is making it even more sustainable.
Oh, well, thank you, Terry. I'm so glad. And congrats on so long doing keto and carnivore the way you have. It's amazing.
Yeah. Smooth Will, talking about trying to stay, stable on carnivore, says, what really gets me at times is the bread. Reason being, when I'm in Philly, I've got to get cheese steaks, and whatever I am, I've got to try the cheeseburgers. I'm struggling with this mostly.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's, it's hard when you want to have those food experiences that are culturally really relevant. But I think the longer you're on this lifestyle and the more things like, whether it's my recipes or just clean keto carnivore things that you just, are eating like simple 1 ingredient foods long term, you get to a point where when you eat stuff like that, it just makes you feel terrible. Like occasionally I still do. It's rare, but like on Sunday, Ash and I had tacos, like real tacos, like from a real Mexican restaurant. And I didn't overdo it. It was a very calculated choice, and I do that on occasion because for me personally, I'm not that strict dogmatic about never, ever, ever again in my life. I just don't think that's realistic. I woke up Monday morning and I was like, oh, now I know why I don't do this regularly. It makes me feel terrible to eat things like that. And like, I'm okay. I can tell my face is maybe still a little puffy, but like I'm all right, but I just don't feel very good. But it's, over time, I think has gotten easier and easier for me to do it less and less. And when I do it, I just kind of regret it every time because I don't feel good. So, don't beat yourself up over it. Do the best you can. Try not to do that stuff. And then if you do, try to focus on the things that it's like, yeah, this is a real negative impact of this. Because when you start connecting how you feel like terrible the next day with the fact that you had that food the night before, it starts changing your psyche to where you just don't want it that much anymore. But that's a process. That's a journey. That is not a flip a switch. That is not a discipline yourself into perfection and beat yourself up every time you fail. That is not the way that works. And despite what some people online might try to tell you, it is not worth kicking yourself over and over and over for failing and beating yourself up like that. Do the best you can. And if you fall off, go right back on the next day. It's the best thing you can do.
Love that. Yeah. Joanne says, hello from
Hi, Joanne.
Canada.
And this is going to be ready to come out in a minute.
Ooh, I'm all about it. Shar said, Minnesota here, thinking this will have to go into the church potluck rotation.
Ah, I love it, Shar.
Yes.
All right.
I'm excited for this.
All right, so this is bubbling. And it is golden brown on top. Come over here and show you guys what we're working with here.
It smells good. I'm telling you right now. Ooh, that looks good. Look at that.
Nice and golden brown. Smells fantastic. It's going to have kind of a biscuit crackery sort of a thing going on top. We're going to let that cool for a couple of minutes before I try to scoop it out because it'll just be boiling hot and liquid right now.
Well, if you're cool with it, maybe we could try to knock out some of these comments because we're still a little bit behind here. So maybe we could go.
Yeah, let's try to catch up.
Here. Yeah, Kitchen Witch 1885 says my husband was very strict carnivore, and now after a year, I'm able to start cooking with things like onions and garlic.
Awesome, healing over time, and then suddenly you get maybe a little more flexibility in it.
Yeah. Sandra is here and says hello.
Hello, Sandra.
I love this comment. Jesus and Carnivore says, thank you, Chris. Jesus and Carnivore has saved my life, and my desire to use alcohol as a crutch has completely lifted. All glory to God. Carnivore eliminates many different addictions.
Amen. I'm very, very proud of you. And ask Ash, and myself for the binge eating, but ask Ash about the alcohol going away after you go keto and carnivore and addressing it. She's had an amazing change.
Absolutely. Yeah. For me, that was probably the biggest change that I noticed. I never would have considered myself an alcoholic. It wasn't like I was getting drunk all the time, but just the need to drink or then drinking and not realizing what it was causing with anxiety.
It was like a 1 to 2 drinks every day, like clockwork. I remember when we first were dating, like she kind of needed it to be able to calm down and go to sleep at night. And it was a thing. I mean, and I was the same with me with junk food, like, no judgment at all. I had the exact same issue, just a different vice. And we both really have changed our lives as a result of that.
Yeah, so good for you. And I
awesome.
agree. I agree too. And it's like Jesus and Carnivore saved my life. I feel like we need to put that on a shirt.
I love it.
I feel like that's...
I'd wear one.
I would too. I totally agree. That's so awesome.
Let me tell you about Jesus and let me tell you about Carnivore.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that is so cool and so awesome. And it's really cool. We need people like that to be brave enough to come into the comment sections and to share things like that.
Absolutely.
So that way other people are like, hey, you know what? I could do that.
Yep, absolutely.
Nani Banks says, I started keto in the 90s when I began the Atkins diet. I lost 150 pounds. I started eating only meat about 10 years later. I mostly eat carnivore now. I love it.
That is amazing.
That's
and congrats.
Incredibly cool. Like, that's awesome.
So cool.
Yeah. Let's see here. Law Nerd Papa says, sorry for running late. Sending Southern Keto love. Hello, Chris.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for showing up. That's all right if you're late. No big deal. We're just glad you're popping in to say hi.
Yeah. Let's see here. Hooligan Fish says, I've got a barbecue sauce. I want to make it cleaner. The two problems are ketchup and brown sugar. Ketchup to clean tomato sauce. What about the brown sugar? Would going to monk fruit change consistency?
Yes, monk fruit would change your consistency. What I would recommend you do is get allulose and use the allulose to brown, so caramelize it a little bit. So I'm actually working on a keto barbecue sauce. I'm probably going to do that with my mom as kind of a little collaboration with her on a recipe. I'll share a keto barbecue sauce with you guys in the future. But I'm using allulose, and if you put it in a dry pan and you turn it on to kind of a medium heat, it will melt. Just don't stir it with a spoon or anything, just swirl it. And when it starts to turn kind of a golden yellow, you don't want it to turn brown, but as it starts getting like a golden dark yellow color, then you add in like your tomato sauce, and that will give you some of that brown sugar vibe.
Cool.
And that's going to be a much better use for your consistency than using something like, say, monk fruit.
Nice.
Yeah, and you're going to get something a lot closer to a brown sugar flavor too.
Cool. Auntie just gave you a $10 super chat.
Oh, Auntie, you are the sweetest. Thank you so much.
She says, we are not alone.
Amen.
Love it.
Yep,
Love
and
you,
as long
Auntie.
as you guys are part of the Chris Cook and Nashville family, you will never be alone, because to the very best of my ability, I will always be here trying to help you guys. So they're going to have to shoot me before I'm going to give up doing all of this and trying to help you guys.
Absolutely. Hey, Cheryl has a great question.
Sure.
She's watching over on Facebook. Says, Chris, are your recipes for people who are doing keto/carnivore, or do they apply to people who are trying to be just carnivore as well?
So you can do either. All of my stuff, for the most part, any of my, I have some keto recipes that would not apply in this way, but most of my stuff, you can take out the veggies, you can take out whatever spices you don't want, whatever, you can customize it, and you can make it as carnivore as you want to be. Now, it is dairy heavy carnivore oftentimes, because without dairy, you're basically left with meat and eggs. And if you're eating meat and eggs and salt and that's it, you may as well eat meat, eggs, and salt and nothing else, because it doesn't matter how flat you make that egg and call it a tortilla, it's not gonna taste like a tortilla. So if you're eating meat and eggs, eat meat and eggs and enjoy it. But if you're willing to do some dairy, then you can get into the recipes on the carnivore side, and you can customize my recipes any way that you want. Take out spices that don't work for you. Take out any of the veggies. If you see me do the more keto or ketovore version, because I flex back and forth. It's a whole spectrum. So you figure out what ingredients don't work for you, take them out. The only thing that I would say you can't customize on my recipes is you cannot do things like, if it has egg white powder, don't swap that out for a liquid egg. Like just don't try to do that, because the powders, the carnivore ingredients, the base recipe of like egg white powder, the whey protein, the whatever, you might be able to make substitutions on some of those things if you do a bunch of experimentation, but all of those things in those recipes are there because I've tried 100 different things to make sure that I know it's gonna work. So those things you still have to have in there, but as far as like the veggies and the spices that would make it not carnivore anymore, you can add in whatever you want if you're more keto, or you can leave out whatever you want to be more carnivore.
That's awesome.
However it works for you.
Yeah. Mr. Bill Knott is in the house.
Hello, Bill. It's good to see you, my friend. How are you doing, brother?
How's Alaska?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys don't know Bill Knott, you need to go check him out. Dude is amazing and has gotten some incredible results. And what an inspiring human being. Mm-hmm. Just amazing. We love you, Bill. We think you're just great, man. Definitely,
yeah. Hun, you got a $1.99 super chat from Caleb's Carnivore Quest.
Oh, what's up, Caleb? Caleb's my brother. He is a 16-year-old carnivore, and if you guys are not subscribed to Caleb's Carnivore Quest, you've got to go do that, because we need more people like him that are young, teaching other young people things like keto and carnivore are good for them.
Yes, definitely.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Caleb. We're really glad you're here, my friend.
Mm-hmm. He also says, hi, Chris. You are looking particularly slim today.
Well, hey, thank you very much. I am working. I'm working on the additional weight that I have to lose, but I'm feeling good. And, you know, I'm trying to become a little more active. I think, so interestingly enough, when I quit my job, my day job, and started doing this full time, my cortisol went through the roof. And my weight loss totally stalled out. And for a while, I thought it was something with the food, but I don't think it is, because I'm not really doing anything different than I was. It was just my cortisol going through the roof because of the stress of trying to be fully self-employed entrepreneurs. And my schedule was crazy, and it's great, and I love it. But, you know, there's a lot more things than just the food that affect things like how slim you are. So I appreciate you saying I'm looking good, man. We're trying to get the cortisol levels down, and I'm trying to take care of myself, so.
Yeah,
I appreciate that very much.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I love this comment from Shrek K.
Hello, Shrek K.
Says, very glad I found your channel. So many good foods that I thought were gone, like mashed potatoes. You have figured out have been a game changer for me. Thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you so much for being here. You're the game changer for me, because it's people like you that make this channel happen. And I appreciate you so much for being here. And honestly, thank you for the encouragement, because if I was doing this and nobody was watching and nobody wanted the recipes, it would kind of be a waste of time and I wouldn't be able to do it. So it's you and all the people like you that make it to where I can do this. So I'm going to dish some of this up while Ash is continuing to read comments.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a question I wanted to make sure that we addressed before we ran out of time.
Yeah.
But Andre Williams is here, has been asking some great questions in the chat.
Okay.
Says, first week or so of keto/carnivore are really tough. Any hints to start and get through the cravings?
Yes, that's a great question. Okay, so for the first week, you're right. It can be very difficult and there can be a lot of cravings. So there's a couple of things that I would suggest you do. Number one, get all the sugar and all the stuff out of your house before you start. Because if you start and that's in the pantry, it's way harder to say no than if it's just not in the house, because you have to get to the car, go to the store. It makes it a lot harder. So make it harder to give in, and it's easier to not do so. Secondly, lots of electrolytes. Make sure you are supplementing electrolytes, because you go whoosh, and if you start feeling like crap, which happens, it's the keto flu thing. If you start feeling bad, you're instantly going to be tempted to want to put other stuff back in. The next thing, if you're craving something that you know you shouldn't have, put some salt on your tongue, because oftentimes putting salt on your tongue helps cravings go away. And the fourth thing I would say is when you eat, eat until you are comfortably stuffed. Now, track your carbs. Don't go over your carb count to get comfortably stuffed. Track your carbs, but if you're still hungry, meat, eggs. Like Dr. Berry says, beef, butter, bacon, eggs. If you're still hungry, you add beef, butter, bacon, and or eggs, and you eat as much as you want until you are stuffed, because if you're hungry, cravings happen. If you're not hungry, it's a lot easier to stand up to them. And you can ask me how I know, because I've gone through this, and every time I get a craving, I slam, for me, beef patties and eggs. Ash will tell you. If I'm craving, and it's been a long time since I've craved something, but if I do, beef patties and eggs until I'm very, very stuffed. Because then if I'm still thinking about it, I know I'm not hungry. I'm like, yeah, that's an addiction. And it's very easy to recognize it for an addiction, and it's much easier to say no. Also, make sure you understand your why, because if it's more important why you're doing this than the cravings, they're very easy to say no to. That's a great question.
It is, yeah.
I am going to bring some beautiful carnivore chicken and biscuit casserole to my lovely wife over here for her to taste for you guys and tell you what she thinks. But look how nice that is.
It looks really good.
Look how nice that is. And it's made with chicken thigh. So the chicken thigh is fatty. It is tender. It is going to stay moist when you bake it. Like, there's all kinds of things about chicken thigh that is just so great.
I'm a big chicken thigh fan. Oh, all right. Well, this smells really good. Let me take a little bite here.
It does. It smells fantastic.
Oh, snap. Oh, man. Wow. This is so good. Yeah, the chicken thigh meat is really nice in there because of like the fattiness, very juicy, very moist. I actually really like how you kind of made it a bit more ketovore with like the, is it peppers you said?
The peppers and onions. So I had a green pepper. I had some just like jarred roasted red peppers that I diced up, and then an onion.
Man, that is good. If you have that in your proper human diet, adding a little bit in there gives it a nice kick. I love like the creamy sauce. It's so good. It's almost like a chicken pot pie, and then maybe like a chicken, but like tuna casserole, but chicken like had a baby. I don't know how to describe it, but it's
so
awesome.
My mom used to make something when I was a kid called ham pie. And it was like diced up chunks of ham and a sauce similar to this. And then there was green peppers and there was onions. And then you take like a Bisquick mixture, like a biscuit type topping, and you put over top of it, and you stick that in the oven and you bake it. And so you had this liquid underneath and like these fluffy biscuit topping kind of things on top. That's where I kind of got the general idea for this. But I went with the chicken route and I used the leftover biscuits, and I did less of the biscuits because I wanted more of a browned topping. This is on point.
Also, a really good way to use up like the leftover biscuits, or like if something goes stale, or if you're like, oh, I don't know, like how this will reheat. I think you could totally do your cracker recipe probably too with this. This is very tasty though. I'm a fan. Amazing. Before we sit down to eat, babe, I'm just trying to get you caught up here on the comments. CB is in the house. CB Carmack.
Hello, CB.
Says got the ingredients, got to make the biscuits soon.
Excellent.
Yes. Ross says, hi, just caught the tail end, so we'll need to catch the replay. Sounds like a wonderful comfort food recipe.
Oh, yeah. This is really cool. And honestly, this would be a cool thing. Put it together, keep it in the fridge, and have it just ready to go, or put it in the freezer. Now, if you did this in the freezer, you'd probably want to do this on like 325, and you'd want to cover it with aluminum foil so it does not brown on top until it's hot through. Then crank it to 375 and pull that aluminum foil off just until it starts to golden brown. So, but you could freeze it, you can keep it in the fridge a couple of nights. You could have it ready for the kids, like with the instructions of, hey, throw this in a 375-degree oven for this amount of time, then eat. Like, you know, this is a really cool thing. And this, honestly, it's probably going to reheat really well just because of what it is. So you could meal prep this, portion it out, and stick it in the refrigerator or the freezer and have portions.
I have a feeling it would actually be better
Yeah.
like later
Reheated.
on, like after it sat and the flavors had a chance to meld.
Yeah, these casserole kind of things like that always seem to improve as the flavor melds over time.
Yeah. Hey, Barry Weems was a sweetheart and gave you a $1.99 super chat. Says that would be a great dish for me to make at the house as a meal prep that I could freeze and bring out on the road with me.
Yes, absolutely. This would be great. So if you guys did not know, Barry, I know he's talked a little bit about it in the chat before, but if you've either new to the channel or if you've never seen him talk about it, Barry is one of many people who watch the channel who are like over-the-road trucker types, who are out on the road trying to figure out how to be keto or carnivore. Things like this are awesome. Have frozen portions, pull it out, heat it up, you're ready to go on the road. I mean, like that's a way that you can on the road take care of that. Like go outside, like pull into a rest area, go out, walk 20 laps around your truck, and if anybody asks what you're doing, just be like, oh, I'm just checking everything, because truckers have to do that, right? So that way you don't look weird. Go out, walk 20 or 30 laps around your truck, go in, heat up some carnivore casserole, sit down and have a great comforting meal and get yourself some sleep so you're safe on the road the next morning. I mean, how cool is that?
It's pretty awesome.
So thank you, Barry, so much for the super chat, and please be safe out there, my brother.
Yes, thanks for all you do. Kathy Ray says, I want a dish of that so bad.
Well,
Yeah.
Kathy, come on over. We got plenty.
I was going to say, Kathy, hop in the car. I'll try to leave you some leftovers, though, because it is really
I was
good.
going to say, this is really good.
It is bomb. Bill Knott says, thank you, guys. Love your channel.
Oh, well, thank you, Bill. We love you too, man.
Carmen Lydia is here. It says, just wanted to stop by and say, Chris, you're a different kind of genius, my friend. Love to see your creations in the kitchen. Thanks for sharing for free.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for watching. The only reason I get to do it for free is because y'all tune in and watch. So.
Absolutely, yeah. John Weiss says, my wife just said Jesus is the bread of life, so just fill your plate with meat.
Amen. That's a
There
great
you
one.
go.
I gotta steal that one.
Yeah.
I gotta steal. Hopefully she doesn't mind. I gotta take that.
Yeah, and you may have already just said it again, but just
Yeah.
to make sure, Yogi wanted to ask, so Chris, was that $3.75 for about 45 minutes?
Yeah, that was $3.75 for probably 30. Usually a casserole like this, depending on the size and the thickness, is going to be 35 to 45 minutes. You want it starting to bubble up, at least around the edges and kind of getting golden brown. So 35 to 45 minutes. If it's not browning, crank it up to 425 until it does.
Man, that is tasty.
Yeah, that is fantastic. I'm controlling myself because I'm on camera. As soon as the camera goes off, I'm diving in and we're having dinner.
Has
gonna be
like
great.
literally every time that you start to talk and I
You're
realize
taking a
you're
bite?
gonna, yeah, if you're gonna say
Yeah.
more than a sentence, I'm like, I can take a little bite.
Yeah,
I got this.
She's waiting for me to go off on a rant so she can sit there and eat.
Pretty much. Yep. We were talking about getting a Jesus and Carnivore Saved My Life on a shirt.
Yeah.
Emily said, check the community later. I'm gonna work on a Jesus and pizza and poop shirt.
I love it. If you guys were not part of one of our Monday morning lives, we had a whole joke about all we ever talk about is Jesus and pizza and poop.
Pretty much, yeah.
It was great.
It's what we do. Smooth Will says, this is why both of you are absolutely fabulous, because both of you get it. It's so refreshing how realistic you two are pertaining to the carnivore diet.
Well, I appreciate that, Smooth Will. Listen, there are people that will give you 100 different reasons why their brand of doing everything is the best. Here's the deal. I'm not going to tell you guys what brand of everything is the best because one, I'm not smart enough to know, and two, what best brand of carnivore or keto is working for you may not be the same for me because, as Dr. Barry always says, the proper human diet is a spectrum. And if you sit on this spot and someone else sits on this spot and you all work together and you can support each other, that's amazing. That's what it means to be a tribe, and that's what it means of all of us to work together as a community, and that's how we change the world one plate at a time, and we give off the impression that the proper human diet is not crazy. If you sit on a spot on the spectrum and then you yell at everybody else for not being at that same spot on the spectrum, then I don't have any time to listen to your hot air. So, you know, we want to be here and be supportive for you guys and tell you that we understand, we get what you're going through, we want to help, we want to give you tools, and if it works for you and you have a great, sustainable, happy, healthy life, I don't care if you put veggies in it or not. As long as you're happy and you're feeling good and you're healthy, I'd rather just give you a big old hug and say congratulations than worry about it.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you.
Sherry says, I bet that is really filling. Yes.
Oh yeah, it's because the thing is you guys have to realize those biscuits are made out of mostly protein and fat. So like you think like, oh, I could eat 6 biscuits by myself. Yeah, if you can put down 6 of these biscuits, I pay you money because 2 or maybe 3 of them when that's all I'm eating with some gravy on it and I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, no way. This is not a go to Cracker Barrel and have your whole dinner and then eat 2 baskets of biscuits on top of it. That is not these kinds of biscuits. They fill you up so fast.
Yeah. Becky, Jesus and Carnivore says, I made a t-shirt says fueled by Jesus and ribeyes.
Love that, Becky. That's awesome.
Awesome. And let's see, I think I got to everybody's question, babe. So I think we're all caught up.
Excellent.
I know we're going to go eat and let people go because we've been hanging out with them for a while. But is there any announcements that you would like to make before we say goodnight?
So the private community is linked in the description box. If you want to get more of this kind of stuff, you want to interact with this community and be supported the same way we're doing tonight and our moderators are doing and our rock stars in the comment section are doing, come join that private community. The link is in the description. You can't miss it. It says join the band here and there's a link. Also, the link to vote for me for the favorite chef competition is down there. Please share with your friends and family and ask them to go do that because, again, it is purely fan voted. It's all up to you guys, and it's just a cool opportunity for us to try to take proper human diet chef foods to a completely new level of mainstream media. And I do a lot of really cool stuff if we would happen to be able to win this. So let's go for it. Let's try. Let's see what we can do, and let's show the world that we're not just a small, insignificant group anymore. The video coming out for Saturday is going to be a big one, but I'm going to keep that a surprise. That's going to be really tasty. The band members got a little bit of a hint the other day, but I don't know if any of them figured it out yet. So we might have to talk a little bit about that in the band. But we're going to talk about the video coming Saturday. But needless to say, it's one that's been a request for a long time, and it's going to be a big deal. So that's coming out on Saturday. That's going to be great. Go to ashtaylor.com. You'll be able to see all of the tour dates. We are going to be out of town this coming weekend because we're traveling to California to play a show. So we're going to have some fun. So we're going to be out there and yeah, normally we also have Monday morning motivations at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are not going to this coming week because we will still be traveling, although we may randomly go live from an airport or something. You never know. So keep an eye on the channel. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share all of the stuff while you're here on the channel. And just let us know in the comments whether you're here in the chat or watching the replay that you were here. If you haven't said hello yet, please do so. And just remember that we're always here to support you guys. Did I forget anything tonight, my love?
Babe, I think you nailed it.
Okay.
I think you got it.
All right. Well, I think that's all the housekeeping. So guys, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate all of you. Go make this recipe because it is fantastic. I think you're really going to love this, how it turns out, and just what it can do for you, your family, your friends, and people who like things like casseroles. So appreciate all of you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me backstage. This is Chris cooking Nashville. My beautiful wife, Ash Taylor, is over there behind the camera. You guys eat your meat. Now your proper human diet casseroles. Love your life. We'll see you here in the kitchen backstage for a bunch more crazy live cooking. And stick around for the outro because we love every single one of you guys. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you soon.